Hi, everybody, and welcome to week 8 of the course. Congratulations, you have made it to the final week. I'm really excited for you and all the hard work that you've done so far. So just a few things to note for our final week. During this week, we'll be putting ethics to work in the real world. So all term, you've been working with the concepts and the theories of ethics, and now it's time to put ethics into practice. So you'll be locating a news item in your chosen field, and you'll be the ethics consultant. You're going to be mapping out recommendations on how to solve a hot button issue in your field. And you'll also have the opportunity to talk to someone about what you've learned in the class. So this could be someone at your job, in your community, a family member, or a friend. The instructions say to speak to a coworker or a colleague, but I'm pretty flexible with that. And it's okay if you don't have a coworker available. You can talk to a family member or a friend about the ideas you've learned, but we'll go over that when we get to that assignment. In that assignment, you'll be presenting a short video about the conversation that took place between the two of you and hitting on some target key terms and ethical ideas that we've been talking about. So finally, then you'll be creating a closing post to kind of say goodbye to your classmates and share with them what you learned this term. So let's go ahead and click over onto the modules button and scroll down to module 8 to see what we'll be doing this week. And I'll go into some more detail for that. So once you get to module 8, you'll of course start by clicking on the module 8 learning pathway. And then you'll notice that we will be doing an Engage assignment, which is another student-graded self-evaluation assignment. And this is going to be on a hot button ethics topic in your field. So that first discussion post will be due on Thursday, and replies to your peers will be due on Sunday. The self-evaluation form opens on Saturday. It does say that it's due on Tuesday, but because this is the last week of the class, that will be due on Sunday instead of on Tuesday, so that we can wrap up with the final grades early in the week. I'll post a note about that later in the class just as a reminder. And then you'll be going down to the module 8.2 evaluate assignment ethics at work, and this is instructor graded. So go ahead and click on that link and we'll go over this assignment just a little bit. So you're going to be thinking about what you've learned this semester and the things that you might be able to apply in the real world. In the activity that we'll be doing, this final kind of project that we'll be doing, you'll explore those questions by involving someone at your job or within a community about an ethical conversation. You could come up with some kind of a situation, ethical dilemma that happened at work. You can make something up if nothing comes to mind, or think about some of the case studies that we did. And you'll present the outcomes of this conversation in a short video that you're going to share with me personally, and then your video will be accompanied by a written piece. So something to keep in mind, and again, I'll send out a reminder, is that in this assignment 8.2, some students, not everybody, experience a problem with uploading 2 documents. So you'll be uploading your written portion for this assignment and also a video. And what happens with some students is when they upload either the written or the video, then they try to upload the second thing, it overwrites the first. So make sure to check to see that you have both a video and the written portion posted. And if one is missing, you can just email me the other one, or you can put it in the comments box as an attachment. That also works too. So just go ahead and make sure you check that for the, before the end of the class. So let's take a look at the instructions for this assignment. This is kind of your major assignment then for the class, where you're going to be putting to work everything that you've learned. So how to proceed. It says list 3 different ethical approaches or types. And of course, That would be consequences, principles, and virtue, value. Ethics that we've been talking about all term, right? And so principles also is deontology, as we've discussed. So you're going to look at those different ethical approaches, and then with your coworker, identify a common ethical conflict in your profession, or if you're using someone in the community or a family member. You can also talk about a conflict that happened in your profession, or perhaps a conflict that's happened in your personal life. And if you don't have those things, you can invent a case study or find something online that you find interesting. Sometimes people find things also, different ethical dilemmas happen in church. So if you're, a regular member of your church and you've come across an ethical dilemma, that might be something to discuss also. So you're going to share these 3 different ethical approaches with your coworker and teach them what you have learned about consequences, principles, and virtues. And during this conversation in the dialogue, you can discuss some different ways you might ethically respond to the conflict. And here's where you can get into some of the details that were present in your textbook. Things like autonomy, justice, freedom, malfeasance, do no harm. Some of those principles that we took a look at. You can talk about the professional client relationships that we explored. Any of those ideas will work for this section. The main idea here is to be able to show me that you have mastered the content of the course and that you're not just relying on personal comments that you could have made before taking this course. So that's something to keep in mind as you proceed with this assignment. So you'll be submitting a 2 to 3 minute personal video or an audio that you in which you share what you learned from the conversation. And then along with your video or audio, you're going to submit a 500-word short summary. So that's the writing piece. And in the writing piece, it talks about what you will present to me. The brief description of the ethical issue that you talked about, the ethical approaches, the different responses, and then also what you learned from teaching the ethical approaches and having this conversation with somebody else. So it's often said that the best way to learn and retain information is to teach it to someone. And so that's what we're going to be doing here. So you'll notice that this activity is used to assess one or more of our general education career competencies, the GECC. You'll see these additional rows in your rubric, but you can just ignore them. They don't factor into your grade at all. This is just data that the administration collects and puts together to see how well the concepts that we're learning in the course have been mastered. And so that's really just them collecting data. So you don't need to worry about that at all. And then you'll wrap up the course finally in Module 8 with, like I suggested before, some final comments to your classmates in your ethical toolkit. So what this will consist of is just thinking about, what you learned from your peers. A lot of people talk about the different perspectives that were displayed in the class and how beneficial they've found the various perspectives of their classmates. So you can see if you click on the link for Evolve, that final Smart Art piece, that you will be something that it has a list of things for you to think about. And that is, how did you benefit from this community of learners? What were some of the virtues and benefits that you received from your peers? What were some well-being? In closing, just what would you like to say to your peers? And so after you make that initial post, no responses are required for that. And that will pretty much wrap up the course. So I can't really accept any assignments after the course. So if there's something that you missed, a discussion board topic, or a smart art that you want to email to me for partial credit, that all needs to be completed by the last day of our course. So anything that's submitted late won't factor into your grade. And that's simply because I need to have time to grade them and post your grades for the registrar, which is happening earlier in the week. And that way your final grade for the class will populate onto your transcript. So I've really enjoyed having everyone in class and the really robust conversations that we've had. Good luck with your goals moving forward, and have a wonderful week.